It's absolutely apptacular. The Subject Cinema Android app. Everything you need to be a rabid Subject Cinema fan. Subject Cinema, 3-Minute Weekend, Tuesday Digidex, and Front Row 5 and 10. All right at your fingertips and available instantly. Plus, email and voicemail links, Facebook and Twitter hookups, Patreon support specials, and more is coming real soon. Don't just listen, app it. The all-in-one Subject Cinema podcast app. Android version available now at Google Play or on PNRNetwork websites. Amazon and iPhone apps coming soon. Don't delay. Download today.
Blueberry. This podcast is a member of the Blueberry Network. Blueberry. No E's. That's Blueberry, BLUBRRY.com. Blueberry.com.
This podcast is a proud member of the Lamb Podcasting Network. Find the network at largeassmovieblogs.com.
Oh, God. This week just sucks. First, we go through Winter Storm Riley, and then Winter Storm Quinn. Now Winter Storm Skylar is aiming at us. We had such a great February. Now everything, like all this stuff at work and all this crap, and the fact that the Weather Channel doesn't know their alphabet, it's like, I'm swearing. What else could possibly be bad about this week?
We have to watch another Star Wars knockoff.
Ah!
Well, it's nice to know you're being mature and rational about the whole thing.
Ah! Plus, we are also going to be doing a little bit of happy cheering to celebrating our 600th show.
Yes.
And it's all happening right here, right now. I'm T.C. Kirkham.
I'm Kim Brown.
Happy anniversary.
It's Subject Cinema's Masochistic March. Help us.
Stand by to receive our transmission.
This town needs an enema.
Celebrating a decade of film podcasting. Lasting out of Beantown, USA, you're tuned into Subject Cinema with T.C. Kirkham and Kim Brown.
Directive.
Oh, behave. Yeah.
I volunteer as tribute.
Suppose you run your business and let me run mine. Here's looking at you, kid.
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome TC and Kim.
Welcome to the 600th episode of Subject Cinema. I'm T.C. Kirkham.
Hi, I'm Kim Brown.
Day and date, March 10th, 2018.
Woohoo.
It's really, we've had such a wonderfully weird and wacky week. With seriously, the Weather Channel needs to figure out how to alphabetize.
They don't
Riley,
know their ABCs.
Quinn, Skylar. So it went RQS instead of QRS. I'm like, what?
Someone didn't listen to the song.
No. We are just having a hell of a week.
It was crazy.
We've got this new computer system coming. We're in our place of business also, and it's just like crazy. And then training going on for that. And then all these storms. And then we had this Winter Storm Quinn come in Wednesday night. And they said, oh, it's going to be a late start. You can come in at 11 o'clock. So we have to leave home at 9:30 to get there by 11. I let Kim sleep in. I checked it. The next morning, I checked the website for the work, and it still said 11 o'clock.
Yep.
We get a cab. We get over to the train station, and I look at my phone. Boss sent me a text. No work today. I'm like, what? I look it up. Not 10 minutes after I last checked it, they changed it to full day off.
Yeah.
So we spent $30 in cab fare for no reason at all. Anyway,
but we would have spent more if we'd actually gone to work.
Not much.
A little more.
No, a little more, but not much.
Well,
but
we would have spent more money when we got down there, and then we would have had.
I realize that, honey, but it still wasn't that much more. Anyway,
so
that was crazy. Yeah, we just came home and just sat around. And good thing we thought to get groceries a couple nights before.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm sure you're just thrilled to hear about all of that stuff.
But we should say, counting our blessings, because there's always someone that has it worse than you.
There is.
There are a lot of people in this state that didn't have power for a very long time.
Tons of people, and are still out, some of them.
Yeah,
and now we've got another Skylar.
Yeah.
Actually.
We hope everybody who lost their power has their power back on, and that everybody's warm and safe and stuff
seriously, Skylar, Skylar. I always thought it was Ler.
Anytime I've ever seen Skylar spelled as a name, it's always been AR.
Okay. I always thought it was ER. Anyway.
I personally think it's that kind of a name that just makes you want to roll your eyes, but that's just...
Well, that's just nice.
Well...
Aren't we specific about names?
Well,
I mean, that's not very nice. What if we have listeners
Well,
named Skylar?
I know, but there's just certain names...
If you are a listener to Subject Cinema and your name is Skylar, we apologize to you.
I'm sorry.
But you should write to the Weather Channel and say, you guys need to get your alphabet right.
Well, the thing is, they never pick intimidating names. Whenever they do names for hurricanes...
Which they're not supposed to do. The National Weather Service has asked them not to do it, and they still continue to do it.
You're right. But even the National Weather Service, when they pick names for hurricanes, they're like Hurricane Bob. Or Hurricane... I know Camille was serious.
Camille was very serious, and so was Katrina. And
I mean, the first hurricane I ever remember from when I was a very little girl was Hurricane Belle.
Right. What hurricane hit the Florida Keys? It was.
Well, Andrew was bad.
Yeah. No, I mean
Gilbert,
this year. This past year, when we were on vacation in the Cape, it was totally in the Keys.
Harvey.
No, Harvey was the one that hit Houston 2 weeks earlier.
Oh.
That was
the one that hit when we were...
L. It started with L because Maria hit Puerto Rico a week later.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm not sure which one it was.
But my point is they never have intimidating names. If they had names that sounded frightening, people would be a little bit more like, okay, we got to pack up and go. I mean, let's be perfectly honest. If they told you Hurricane Lucifer was bearing down on you, wouldn't you get the hell out? I would.
Well, yeah.
Or,
I got to look that up because that's going to bug me.
Like Hurricane Maleficent or something like that.
Geez.
17
Hurricane.
Well,
bear with us, folks.
If they ever get to Hurricane Vlad, it's been a very long season.
They've been through the thing and back into Alpha, Beta. All those occasionally a few years ago. Okay.
Seriously, though, you have to think about it. I mean,
Irma. It was Irma that hit down there.
Right, you're right.
So,
yeah, but they don't. They don't use names that sound intimidating. And if something sounds more scary, you're going to be a little bit more like, oh, we need to leave. That's just my opinion.
Well, I remember the first male name that was really bad was Hurricane Allen in 1980. It hit Texas, I think. I'm like, wow. Okay, anyway.
Moving on.
It is Masochistic March.
It is.
We are doing Star Wars knockoffs.
We are. It's my fault. I picked it. I'm so sorry.
I picked this movie, though.
I know, you did. So you should apologize.
I did apologize to you a number of times while we were sitting through this thing. The sad thing is, it has a few good stars. It has a really good director. How did they get mixed up with a piece of crap this bad?
I don't know. It's just wrong.
And now it's time for Star Wars Ripoffs Masochistic March. Message from Space.
From a captive planet, 2 million light years away, came a desperate plea for help. Message from Space. On the verge of extinction, the leader of the persecuted Gelusians sends his beautiful granddaughter to find the 8 legendary brave adventurers who alone can stop the annihilation.
Do you know where Emeralita is? You know where Emeralita is? What are you doing? No! I'm a human being from the planet Earth!
You know what? This movie is a perfect example of why we do Masochistic March. We've always said, if we have to suffer, you have to suffer. Yep. But in all honesty, we watch them so you don't have to.
Yes.
And this is definitely one of those films.
Or we watch them because we tell you how horrible it is, and then you go, oh, it can't be that bad. I'm going to watch it and see what, how bad it really is, and then you find out.
1978's Ushu Kara no Message, which translates to Message from Space, directed by legendary director Kenji Fukasaku, who should have known better, starring Sonny Chiba, who should have known better, Vic Morrow, who should have known better, and Itsuko Shihomi, who I assume should have known better. So it's like, oh my god. Released in 1978, early 1978 in Japan, late 1978 in America. Give us the rundown on this pain-filled outing.
A long, long time ago.
No.
In a living room far, far away. Two people sat down to watch a movie, ripping off one of the most wonderful science fiction movies ever made. And there was pain. Okay, anyway.
The horror. All I know is Kenishiro Morinoka, who wrote the score, Dr. Evil quotes, the score.
We're not 2 minutes into this movie.
John Williams, you really should check out the music from this movie. Anyway.
2 minutes into this movie and I'm already furious. I'm like
boiling.
I'm like, this is not
the movie opens with something that sounds not suspiciously like Leia's theme.
Yeah,
okay.
The whole da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah, it's a different key string.
The different
it's the
key,
same
but
thing.
It's close enough that
it's like network music's radio songs that sound just close but not quite.
It's close enough that I'm going, mother fudging son of a biscuit.
Oh yeah, she was. Alrighty.
Beginning with the narrator speaking ponderously, because you need a narrator that's not quite Orson Welles, or Vic Perrin, or whatever they were going for.
I thought it was Vic Perrin at first. It's not.
The planet of Gelucia, which is in the Andromeda Galaxy, which is actually in a galaxy far, far away, so there's that, has been conquered by the warriors of the Gavanus Empire. I was saying Garbanzo all night long, but whatever. Who have steel skin and and their helmets are kind of modified. They look like kind of a bug with a bull motif thing with horns and stuff. Well, they're the bad guys, and they've conquered Gelucia and made it into a military fortress, boo hiss. The people who lived on Gelucia have been subjugated by this evil force, this evil empire.
I think it's Gelucia, not Gelucia.
Gelucia. Like orange.
We heard
Gelucia.
it enough, yeah.
Like orange Gelucia.
Okay.
Anyway. So you have the evil empire running around subjugating people.
Mince.
Wonder what that's supposed to be in aid of. The leader of the tribes of Gelucia, and a man named Keto, he's like the village elder, the old mystical dude. Ripping off someone else, I'd say.
But it was 2 years before that.
Yeah, I know. Sends out 8 Liabi seeds, whatever the hell those are.
They're acorns.
They're glow-in-the-dark walnuts that basically they send out these holy seeds, whatever that means, to search for the what?
Keep to the storyline commentary after.
All right. These seeds are sent out into the galaxy to search out 8 warriors that will liberate the people and save everybody.
Not 7. Not 7. 8.
8. Yep. That number between 7 and 9. That number there. His granddaughter, Princess Emerlita, who is all dressed in white.
We have to be honest. We had to find this movie on YouTube, and although it was a very good print, the dialogue was extremely hard to hear in places.
Yeah, the dubbing wasn't the volume.
It was the English dub, and it was hard to do.
Yeah, the volume on the dubbing was not the best.
Nope.
Sounded like everyone was talking from inside a sock drawer.
Something like that, yeah.
The princess, as I mentioned, pretty dark hair, all dressed in white.
With ivy in her hair.
These people are
but
like...
no headphones.
Yeah, these people are like the Planet of the Salad people. Everybody runs around with this ring of kale on their head. Is accompanied by a warrior named Uroko who follow these seeds into space to find the people that the seeds are going to choose to bring back to save the planet, blah, blah. The Gavanes, who are not as dumb as they look, headed up by the Emperor Roxaya the 12th. No, not 12th, 23rd. I can't read Roman numerals.
22nd.
22nd. I told you I can't read Roman numerals. The Emperor has them pursued because he doesn't want these, champions to be found. The Emperor, who is this evil emperor of this vast galaxy who answers to his mom. Mother.
I got that in during the movie.
Which Hazel remarked.
Yeah.
So anyway, as we're going along in the story, we meet the people that actually, unfortunately, turn out to be the heroes of this piece.
Yes, unfortunately is right.
A couple of space cowboys named Shiro and Aaron, and they are friends with a young woman named Maya. Was it Maya or Mia?
Mia.
Mia is a young woman who is from a very rich family, and she's this kind of fun...
She's 20-something going on 6.
Yeah. She's very fun-loving, very impulsive, is very much like, well, I do what I want because I'm rich.
And we're gonna go capture space fireflies.
Yeah. You wouldn't believe my eyes from all the space fireflies. Alice City joke. Sorry. I'm very sorry about that.
No, that was good. I think Adam would like that too.
Anyway, so
Adam would give us a hug.
Adam would give us a hug. Hi, Adam. Anyway,
it's an Owl City thing. Anyway, go ahead.
The two guys in their ships, their single fighter ships, Shiro and Aaron, are pursued by a space cop, a space patrolman named Fox, who is
actually has a siren in space.
Yeah.
What?
You people fail physics forever.
Well, they also eject into space and parachute into space at various points in this film.
Yeah.
None of which is a good idea. See George Clooney and Sandra Bullock in Gravity.
I slept through most of science class, but I'm pretty sure that doesn't work. A crash landing finds the two young men. They're referred to as Rough Riders for some reason that I don't quite understand why.
Because they're riding their Vipers rough, I guess.
Because
they look like Vipers from Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah,
they're not quite the same.
Not exactly the same.
And it was filmed before that started.
They mostly look enough like They mostly look not like X-Wings enough that they didn't have to worry about getting sued for that.
No.
They find two of these the magic seeds and try and figure out how they got there once they crash on this planet. At a military base, a general named Garuda is mourning a deactivation of a robot that was his friend from the look of it. His robot, Biba-1, was termed obsolete by the government and had to be...
deactivated.
Put down?
Yeah.
I don't know how you'd call that for a robot. I'm sorry.
Deactivated.
Why have I got images of Old Yeller in my head?
Smell her! Smell her!
I'll do it, Ma. Yeah, I know. We are terrible.
Anyway,
we are terrible, horrible people.
Anyway,
but General Garuda is actually not a horrible person, all the way raging alcoholic. Because he
doesn't seem to go through a single scene without a bourbon in his hand, except the one where he's actually coming up later in the film. Where he's in the big throne room.
He's like Captain Harlock, only not. Anime reference for some of you out there, because he gets in a lot of trouble for having a full military funeral for his robot. He gets reamed out by his commander and quits the army. He's just basically like, you can't fire me because I quit. Hick, let's go drink. And winds up being, and he leaves
with his new best bud, Biba 2.
Biba 2, yeah.
Biba D2? No. No?
Stop.
Okay.
Leave it alone.
Well, that's what it was supposed to be.
And it's slightly less...
It was a kind of a quasi-cross between R2 and Twiki.
Yeah.
From Buck Rogers.
And, the name's slightly less obnoxious than B4. Yes, Star Trek Nemesis, we remember you. So, while the former general is drinking, he winds up having one of these magic space seeds show up in his drink, so apparently he's one of these chosen people too. Shiro and Aaron turn out to be working in this same tavern, what a coincidence, paying off a debt because of their, wacky space adventures. They are pressured by a friend that loaned them money, a guy named Jack, because Jack's being pressured to get money from some gangsters that he owes money to. Jack also finds one of these seeds, which shows me that these seeds have really crappy judge of character. And everybody realizes, hey, I've got one of these too. Maya agrees to help the two guys.
For the record, Jack is the, quote, wacky comic relief, close quote, that you find in most Japanese science fiction films.
Think of the Japanese version of a Pauly Shore character.
Ooh, that was mean. I love Pauly, but that was mean.
Was it inaccurate?
Don't insult Pauly that way.
Was it inaccurate?
You're gonna harsh my buzz, man. Come on. Anyway.
That's his way of saying it wasn't inaccurate, but you're being a bitch. So
yes.
Maya says that she'll help Shiro and Aaron with their problems with money if they take her to look for these fireflies that she saw in this asteroid belt, because that makes total sense, and by this point my nose was bleeding. Shiro and Aaron say they'll go along with it, but Jack is of the opinion that it's a bad idea and Mia's going to get them into trouble. While they are in this asteroid belt, they find the wreckage of the ship that we had seen at the beginning escaping from Jalicia with the princess and her bodyguard inside, and they're still alive.
It actually is a ship.
It's an actual
ship. It's a galleon.
Ship. Yeah, it's
with sails and everything going through space.
Sails, prow, stern, aft, starboard, poop deck, the whole 9 yards. Yeah. Which I think was a ripoff of something else, but we'll get to that in a minute. The carrier of the Gavanos shows up.
Looking like a giant Bose speaker.
Yeah, which we get a shot of from underneath. Gosh, I wonder where they got that idea. Pretty much. And the Gavanos open fire and blow up the ship of the Jalicians and the ship of the police officer, who was
back patrolling and saw them and started chasing them again.
Can you explain to me why every police officer in every movie ever has to have the shiny sunglasses and the porn stash?
Well, you know what else is interesting?
Why?
You notice what else he was doing?
What?
They ended up getting away from him again. He crashed his car again, and he turned around and called them bandits. I said, I told you we were watching Smoking the Bandit
Halfway expected him to start going...
Roscoe P. Coltrane or Sheriff Buford T. Justice of Texas.
Seriously. But not. Anyway.
And that movie's hilarious. This movie is not. Anyway.
So the whole group of them go back to Shiro and Aaron's home, which is on the planet Milizaria, where the police are, have been alerted that something's going on because of the destruction of one of their, police rockets. Jack says that the problems that they've had are the fault of Princess Emelita and Iroko, and when they start fighting, the seeds that these people have been carrying fall to the ground, and the princess sees them and realizes that Shiro, Jack, and Aaron have been chosen by these magic space seeds, and that just sounds dumber every time I say it.
But it's true.
Yeah, well, I know. Although her bodyguard...
It's a lot safer than the space seeds that are in Star Trek.
Yeah. I mean, it beats the chosen one thing by just yanking a sword out of a rock, but not by much. Her bodyguard is a little bit skeptical about this, and I don't really blame him because these three guys are really kind of jerky. I think is the word I'm going for.
Yeah, but so is Rococo. He's kind of jerky anyway, too.
It's Uroko.
Oh, Rococo, whatever. It's the same thing.
Nice.
Anyway. Him with the salad in his hair. Anyway.
As it's... Apparently they're not going to San Francisco because that's flowers in your hair, not salad. And if you remember that song, congratulations, you're old. Anyway, all of this racket wakes up former General Garuda, who's been sleeping it off nearby. Well, what else would you call
you're
it?
Absolutely right. That's exactly what he's doing.
And shows them that he's got this same seed that they do. And this continues from there with a lot of arguing back and forth. Jack takes Oroko and the princess to the home of this kind of creepy old lady. She examines the seed and says that they're wolf hunters, whatever that means, and that she's seen people that have the same seeds. And the princess stays at the home with the lady while Jack and Oroko and a guide go out looking for these other wolf hunters that have these other seeds. As it turns out, it all turns out to be a big-ass trap. Jack betrayed the princess and Oroko, who looks almost like he gets killed, but it turns out he doesn't. In a scene that's kind of out of a fairy tale, the old woman says that Jack basically sold the princess to her so that the princess would be forced to marry her son,
who was born on Pluto.
Yeah,
that's an interesting fact, and the only time you'll ever hear that during the entire film.
Yep. Well, it's the only time you're ever going to see these people in the entire film. So,
you see the mother a little bit later.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, that's true. And it turns out that the son is all, like, not attractive. In fact, he's kind of... Lizardy, froggy creature from the Black Lagoon-y kind of thing. And if you were looking for
he's a loony. I won't finish that anyway.
And if you were looking for a prequel to The Shape of Water, it doesn't happen here. The princess, proceeds to start screaming her bloody head off.
Although the Mia kind of looks like Sally Hawkins. Anyway.
The lizard dude goes to like try and beat the princess into submission. Boo hiss. But a group of the troops from the Gavinus Empire show up and kill the lizard guy and take the princess and the old woman hostage and then blow the house up.
What I want to know is, how did they know she was still alive? They thought they'd killed her in the galleon.
I don't
know.
So
apparently they're still looking for them.
I don't know.
That doesn't make any sense. Plot hole!
Yeah.
I hope you're happy with your breast cancer. Anyway, go ahead.
Room joke. Back at Shiro and Aaron's place, Mia thinks that they're still helping the Jaliscians, and she's all excited about this idea while Aaron, Jack, and Shiro are, kind of mopey. Oroko, shows up not dead, and...
for the first time.
Yeah. Challenges the guys to a fight, but winds up falling unconscious. Jack explains what he did, and Mia gets all pissed off and leaves, and she hears a rattling around noise in the cockpit and finds one of these space seeds, and now instead of just being a little, walnut from outer space, it's a glowing walnut from outer space. Now. We see Jack, Aaron, and Shiro being plagued. They keep having these terrible nightmares about the Gavinus and the evil things that they do, and they realize they can't live with themselves if they don't do the honorable thing.
Well, not entirely at this point. At this point, because of the fight they had, Aaron's acting like a spoiled 5-year-old.
Yeah.
I mean, here's a grown man, supposedly, in his 20s, supposedly, basically going, I don't want to. I'm going to go over here and sit by myself. I don't want to be involved with this. Yeah.
Yeah.
And seriously, he does this in every scene for the next 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh my God, really?
Now, also, they had thrown their seeds away by this point. At this time, the seeds seed that Shiro and Jack both threw away have come back, but Aaron's hasn't, and he's all pissy about it. On the Gavinus's head...
That's when he has his little temper tantrum.
Yeah.
Otherwise referred to as a male hissy fit.
Yeah, you admit men
It
have
does
them.
happen occasionally. Arn Anderson, you had one, and once on WCW.
And this
guy has several of them.
The Gavinus on their base on Jalicia, the Emperor tells the princess that the planet could have stayed the way it was before, which was, beautiful and green and all that stuff like that. But, he's basically saying that your people brought all this destruction on themselves because they didn't immediately bow down and show us their necks when we showed up to invade. That's a real dick move, dude. Just saying.
Yeah.
I know you're the bad guy, but bad form.
Okay, before we go any further, are you all having trouble following the plot? Which is bouncing all over the place like a freaking Super Bowl? We were too. It's damn impossible to figure out what's happening half the time.
Not to mention the fact that we were both sitting there going,
What?
What the fork did they just say?
Well, I'm going to go over here and then we're going to finish and it's basically what it was.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
The old woman is wheeled in on a cart, and they use this mind probe on her, and the Emperor Roxea sees images in her mind of Earth and how beautiful Earth is, and doesn't really bother him at all that this woman winds up dying from this mind probe. I'm like, what the hell did they do to her? Crying out loud. He decides that Earth is so beautiful, and this is the most beautiful thing he's ever seen, and all this stuff like that. So of course he's going to invade, because somebody's compensating for something.
He wants it for his throne room, doesn't it? What he said?
Well, he wants his whole thing is that it's beautiful and it has to be mine.
Right, but he gave a specific reason to his mother, Dr. Evil Clothes, which was played by a man.
He wanted the castle he wanted to put his castle on Earth because it was so beautiful and blah blah blah. Because basically what they've done is they've turned the planet of Jalicia into their new space station, Death Star. They've built rockets into the planet and the whole thing, and they. Well,
it wasn't totally original when the Death Star happened either.
What do you mean?
It also happened in For the World is Hollow and That Touched the Sky.
Yeah, but that wasn't a warship. It was just a starship.
Right.
It was,
It was a planetoid that was it was disguised as a planetoid or an asteroid or something.
Right.
So I'm just saying.
But the people inside it didn't know that.
Right, I know that. I know that.
Yeah. Yeah, but the people...
Which, by the way, also, by physics, makes no sense
Yeah, but
at
the
all.
other thing is the people in Jalicia lived on the surface still, didn't they? I mean, they were in caves and stuff, but they were still on the surface.
When they were attacked, yes.
Yeah, right. Anyway, moving on. Where did I leave off? The Gavinus have decided, well, we're going to move the whole planet, so they just, turn the key and hit drive. And the planet starts making its way toward Earth. Rip off of something else.
That doesn't ring in my head either.
What?
I can't see the music from Drive playing in this one.
We got a big old planet rocking through the night.
That works better than Real Human Being did, which was about a number of different things, including Sully Sullenberger. Anyway.
So the planet shows up, and basically the Emperor's all like, the whole usual surrender or die thing. And Earth is like, the people of Earth are like, what? And they send out the Galvanus, like I said, they show up and they're all like, surrender Dorothy, and Earth's all like, no way. And
so we send off a few ships to try and...
We send Earth's defense fleet. All three of them. Are you kidding me?
Well, they were giant, like battle stars looking,
Yeah. They might as well have just been flinging spitballs at them for all the good it did.
True enough, yeah.
So after boom, 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 the Galvanists are like, anyway, like we were saying, we're conquering your ass. And, you have 3 days in which to, bow down to us or we're really going to F you up. They want Earth to become a tributary planet. I don't know what that means, but it sounds dirty.
They want Earth to pay tribute to it by becoming one of its worlds that they've conquered.
They want you to surrender, to give yourself over body and soul. I read way too many romance novels for my own good.
I was thinking more of so they could pick 2 people to be in the planetary Hunger Games, but that's okay.
Oh, anyway. Shoot, no.
Okay,
oh, can
anyway.
we not go there, please? Right. So anyway, after defeating Earth's mighty fleet, 3, the chairman of Earth, because apparently Earth's under one government now.
No. It was the chairman of what the movie passed off as the United Nations.
Something called Earth Council. So
right.
But doesn't that mean that it's all one government?
No, I think it's the United Nations acting for all the governments in the world. Oh. They're representing Earth.
Okay.
That's what I got from it.
All right, whatever.
Like the whole council in Batman the movie.
Right, yeah.
Back years ago.
Yeah. I was going to make a whole bunch of New World Order jokes, but I'm actually not going to anymore because they're not really that funny anymore. Anyway, the person
Not to mention that Alex Jones's ears would be ringing. Anyway.
That dude's ears always have to be ringing because everybody's always going, Alex Jones, what an a-hole. So anyway, the person who was the head of the head of Earth Council stepped down. And the new person...
After the destruction of Earth's mighty 3 fleet.
Yeah. The new person, Ernest Noguchi, is an old friend of General Garuda. You remember him. Turns out they went to school together. And he appeals to General Garuda to go to the Emperor as the special envoy from Earth, hoping to, because his whole thing is that... the general had a nickname at school. They referred to him as Don Quixote because he was always challenging giants and tilting at windmills, I guess. And they're hoping that he'll be able to buy them some time so Earth can put together a defense. Maybe they mean 4 ships. Playing hardball now. At first, Garuda's all like, nope, I'm just going to drink myself to death. But he winds up finding that seed in one of his drinks, and this time it's glowing, and that changes his mind for some reason.
Because he's left the military service after what happened, as we said earlier. And the generals there, they cussed him out and he threw his resignation at, and he basically tells him to go F himself. Mm-hmm. And then he finds, blink, 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 blink. Oh, my bourbon's blinking. Well, yeah. I got to be a hero again.
Yeah.
So God, is this movie over yet?
Nope. The Rough Riders and Jack also decide they're going to go to Gelida. Aaron's still pouting about the fact that his magic space seed hasn't come back. The space carrier of the Gavinus Empire appears over the planet they're on, and Jack winds up being sucked up into the tractor beam and hopefully pushed down into space, but we don't get nice things.
No.
Aaron goes to rescue him, goes to chase after him, and winds up finding his seed has been put in the hull of his ship. So he's one of the chosen ones again. Hooray.
After him and Shiro have this incredibly huge punch-up with each other.
It's an incredibly weak-looking punch-up.
Yeah, but it's because, again, see earlier, Jack is acting like a 5-year-old. Anyway.
Yep. So
Aaron, sorry.
Now, on their way back to Gelida, the
Jalusia.
The space seed that Mia has all of a sudden goes berserk. It starts flying around the cabin of the ship like a super ball on crack.
Or like a pinball in a pinball machine. Ping, ping, ping,
yeah.
ping, ping, ping,
and they wind up crashing on a planet in a system we haven't been to before in the film.
Da, da, da!
And they are attacked by, it seems to be kind of a desert planet, and they're attacked by this dude on a horse that's wearing armor that looks a lot like the Gavinus armor, but this guy's skin isn't metal. It turns out and he's got one of those magic space seeds around his neck. Gasp.
And we both looked at the screen, looked at it again real hard, and sat back and said, "Oh, Sonny Chiba, no!"
it turns out that this mysterious stranger is Prince Hans, who's the actual prince of the Gavanus Empire. He's the actual rightful king. Because his family got killed and these evil people took over the throne, and so it's all like, he's all like, I want to be a good guy. So, you know, that's probably why his skin isn't all metal and he doesn't look like evil and crap. And his whole thing is that he's, you know, he wants to get these usurpers off the throne and make everything right again. So, the whole thing with the Earth envoy happens, and Garuda shows up and is trying to
stall for time,
stall as much as he can. The Emperor brings Jack in, who, when he first comes in, is all like, I'm not afraid to die and all this stuff like that, until he sees the general, and then he throws himself at the general's feet and is all like, save me! To which all of the people around laugh and mock him, which, I'm sorry, that's kind of, again, dick move. You know, all you people are warriors, and this guy's just some little dweeb in a golfing jacket with a stupid hat on. He's not a warrior, you know, so he's scared.
He's like that really annoying guy in Mothra.
Yeah, so he's scared. You don't laugh at him. That's just rude. Garuda shows that he's a person of honor by being like, you know, this man's a citizen of my home planet, and, you know, you shouldn't laugh at him because he's not a warrior, and, you know, you're mocking him and all that. And he challenges one of the nearby warriors that were laughing at this guy. He's all like, takes his glove off. He doesn't smack the guy with the glove. He throws the glove in the guy's face. I'm like, shoot, that cost you a glove, dude. But he challenges him to a duel. I'm like, a duel? Like Alexander Hamilton duel? Yes, apparently just like that. Because
only Garuda's going to turn out to be Aaron Burr.
And no singing.
Or rapping.
Rapping. So anyway, and no Tonys. So anyway.
And no Lin-Manuel.
Leave Lin-Manuel alone.
Okay.
So they go to have this duel with actual guns, but the other guy, because he's a bad guy, is all like, I'm going to turn around first and shoot. And apparently, not only being a bad guy, he aims like a stormtrooper and winds up nicking Garuda in the arm. And, well, you know, and now Garuda's like, okay, I have a gun that works, you don't. And the guy's all like, holy crap, I'm going to die. And Garuda, like, aims the gun at him and then aims the gun at the floor. I'm like, he's going to shoot the floor.
And the guy sinks down to the floor and
the Emperor shoots him.
Several times.
Like 87 times. I'm like, dude, I think he's dead. You don't need... That's overkill, dude. So anyway, the Emperor starts... the Emperor's all like, I know what you're doing. Like, you're trying to stall for time and stuff. And Garuda's all like, you know, you can... You know, if you conquer Earth, our people are going to fight you. And, you know, they're not going to give up. And the Emperor's all like, okay, well, fine. And Garuda's all like, you know, if you keep trying to take Earth from us, Earth will wind up being destroyed and be just like this planet. And the Emperor's like, all right, fine. Just to prove I'm not screwing around, click, boom goes the moon. Oh, all those poor werewolves. What are they going to do?
Not to mention the tides, which are going to be royally screwed up by that.
Yeah. And all those people who write cheesy love songs about walking in the moonlight, what are they going to do? They're going to be out of work.
I know.
Anyway.
It's a shy moon. No. Anyway.
I guess it won't be a new moon on Monday. Or any other time.
Oh, wow. If you know that reference, you're really old. Anyway.
Yep. The Empress, wouldn't be the Empress. She'd be a Dowager Empress, wouldn't she? Because she's not the actual Empress.
I don't know. Not getting into that. It's taking too long to do this damn movie because it lasted so long.
Her whole thing is kill Garuda. The Emperor should kill Garuda because he's got one of those seeds, and that means that he's dangerous. The Jack and Garuda and Beba 2 leave the planet, but then turn around and parachute to the surface. Oh,
of course they did.
So not touching.
We did
that.
mention that one earlier. Anyway.
So not touching that. They reunite with all of the other people that they've been looking for, and the
only way to stop the Emperor is to destroy the reactor that's running the new planetary booster that makes the planet move around like a Death Star, and they have to go down this little teeny corridor that's only like super duper tiny to just
get down.
big enough for one of those little Viper ships to shoot down.
Almost like somebody going down a trench and getting something into a chute at just exactly the right
Where have
moment.
I heard that
You know,
before?
that sounds so familiar, and I honest to blog can't think where I heard that. Oh, it might have been that movie that I saw like over and over and over again the year before. Anyway, the whole group of heroes winds up being captured, and the Emperor addresses them as a giant hologram, overcompensation, and tells them that he knew about their plans because there was a traitor in their midst all the time, and it was, drum roll please, the princess's bodyguard, who you said at the beginning was going to turn out to be a traitor anyway, so you get a cookie.
Yep. It's all Rococo.
Rocco. You're not going to get this right anytime soon, are you?
No, because I'm deliberately getting it wrong. Anyway.
His whole thing is he turned on the heroes because their whole thing is, well, we're going to have to destroy the planet to save everybody. And his whole thing is, no, they shouldn't do that. But the Emperor wants him to kill all the heroes. But the seeds, the magical space seeds, all start glowing, and Oroko realizes that,
because now that the robot is now the 7th warrior, savior,
chosen one,
he can even I can be one if you can be one too. And he turns and says something. What does he say? A traitor is a traitor. Always.
And he turns around and starts shooting up the bad guys. So there's a big firefight, and
Rococo dies.
Yes.
But not before he sees that he's gotten his own seed and is now...
And it's been hiding in his kale wreath all the time. You always had the power to go home.
Oh, shut up. Anyway.
We're not going there. So, Prince Hans, who's apparently just... Hans? Okay.
Hansel?
Anyway. No.
Hansel?
No, and no.
Leopold.
Stop it! The prince... tells the people of the planet that they should evacuate to their ship because they're going to try and destroy the planet. So Mia, Shiro, and Aaron go back to their ships and are fighting with the Urzat TIE fighters of the Gavinus Empire. They have to
get the Illudium Q96 thingy right into the... sorry.
Stop it. No amount of Looney Tunes jokes are going to make this movie any better.
It's making it go faster, though. Hurry, please. I can't take it anymore.
Prince Hans has a epic standoff sword fight with Emperor Roxea, which is not actually a lightsaber battle, thank goodness.
It's just a sword battle.
It's a sword fight, but it's actually a pretty good sword fight to be perfect.
Because in the end, the prince takes his knife and stabs the guy between the eyes.
Takes the sword, stabs the Emperor through the eyes, right between the eyes, and sends him flying out a window to his death because he's Sonny effing Chiba. That's why. Shiro and Aaron make it through the tunnel and manage to fire off the weapons that they need, and the reactor goes blooey, the whole planet goes kablooey, and the people of Jalicia all get on the ship, the one ship, and this is the entire population, I guess, everybody except Grandpa! The grandfather stays behind. He stays behind on the planet because his whole thing is, this is my motherland and I want to be there with her when she dies. I mean, he's out there long enough to give a monologue, while the planet's burning around him, and then he falls into a crevice in the earth and the whole planet goes kaboom. So now everybody's on board the space galleon, and the princess her whole thing is that, it's because they've all been blessed by the gods and all because of the magic space seeds and all that.
Magic space seeds?
You come up with a better way to put it.
Magic space seeds. With the sword and magic space seeds.
No. They talk by video to Earth, and everybody decides that all the Earth people decide, well, we're going to stay with the Jaliscians while they go off and try and find a new planet to colonize and live on and make their new world and everything like that. We all feel like we need to go start again. Someplace else, someplace new. And they sail off into wherever, and the movie ends, and...
What was the name of Thor and Loki's home planet?
Asgard?
Asgard. Yeah. Because Asgard is just a state of mind. Because it's right there at the end of Thor Ragnarok, too. With Vic Morrow as General Garuda, Sonny Chiba as Hans, Philip Kasnoff as Aaron, Peggy Lee Brennan as Mia, Etsuko Shihomi as Esmeralda, Tetsuro Tamba as Noguchi, Mikio Nanta as Roxia the 12th. The 12th? Did we really need it? No. Here it says the 12th. It is 12. Okay. 20th is the other thing.
I told you I can't read Roman numerals.
Makoto Sato as Urako, Hiroyuki Sanada as Shiro, Izmu Shimizu, I hope I got that right, as Robot Biba 2. You mean Frank Welker or Felix Silva?
No!
Masazumi Okabe as Jack, Noburo Mitani as Kamisaya, Hideo Amamoto as Dark, Junkichi Orimoto as Kido, Harumi Sone as Lazari, and Makoto Sato as Uroko, who is already mentioned further up in the credits. That makes no sense. Anyway... oh my God. This was my idea. I was under the impression that I had seen this on cable years ago when I was like 18, 19. But I don't think it was. I think I may have seen this TV sequel when it was on Spotlight years ago. But it's like, because I remember the title, but trust me, I'd remember being in this much pain, even back then, because this is just one of the worst. This makes Miami Connection look like Shakespeare. It's that bad. Would you agree?
This almost made me want to watch Dune again.
Oh, shit. What about the future?
No, let's not get nuts.
Okay, I'm just checking.
Let's not go crazy.
This movie was the most expensive film ever made in Japan up to this point. It would later be beaten by the next Fukusaku film, the 1980 film Virus, which I've covered on Catastrophe Vortex a few months ago. Cost around $6 million roughly in American dollars, half the budget of Star Wars. And it really does try to rip off Star Wars and a little bit of everything. It's terrible. Now... You made it almost to the end. That's good.
This movie...
Jack, can I finish coughing before you start talking?
Sorry.
Okay.
This movie is so overwhelmingly...
Painful.
We
were 15 minutes into it. We were, God, like, how much longer is there of this movie? Now, I understand that some actors need help getting parts sometimes, and a lot of American actors have found it very profitable to go to Japan, like Nick Adams and a few other people. Richard Harrison, despite working with Godfrey Ho, and Vic Morrow obviously did too. God, though, I'm like, really?
But really,
this is just terrible.
It's like, wow. I mean,
and Sonny Chiba. Oh no, really?
Really, it's just
Kenji Fukusaku, who directed this and who actually, the Japanese press found this film fine.
Although it did better in France than it did in Japan, which is
France likes Jerry Lewis too.
Well,
so there's
that.
It was a bomb here in America, and it was one of the first. It was the ball that started the ball. It was the movie It was the bomb that started the ball rolling toward bankruptcy for United Artists, which would completely collapse with Heaven's Gate. So it's like, I mean, United Artists only spent $1 million on it, but it made nothing at the box office. And I'm like, why did you send this? The sad thing is, I mean, some of the reviews are just horrific. I think the best quote out of all of these, where's the Boston? Wow, okay. Excuse that, that's the neighbor upstairs. The Boston Globe said, quote, "The fallout from Star Wars space garbage continues to litter the motion picture screen. The review also found the special effects and the plot to be poor, and the robots and villains were not as funny or interesting as R2-D2 or Darth Vader, respectively."
Nope.
What? Really?
Really?
You mean he's not a Darth Vader? Huh. Okay.
He's not even a dark helmet.
Oh, that was mean. There was a TV series spinoff a year later called Message from Space Galactic Wars, lasted 27 episodes on Japanese television. And as I was saying, Fukasaku was already a well-known director at this time. He had done Tora 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 and a few other things, and he would soon do Virus and later Battle Royal, some of the biggest films of the 90s and into the 2000s. And I'm like, what the hell?
I know. This movie rips off pretty much anything it can get its hands on, besides the obvious, blatant ripping off of Star Wars.
Particularly Leia's theme.
Yeah, particularly that. The thing that, like I said, obviously, ripping off Star Wars at every opportunity. There's also two big points about this show that makes me think they ripped off something from their own country. An anime that in Japan was called Space Battleship Yamato, and that in this country was called Star Blazers. A show I was totally addicted to.
It was the first really anime hit here in America. I think, along with Battle of the Planets.
Yeah,
two of them
I would
about
say
the same time.
From that time period. Yeah, I mean, Speed Racer had been on in the 60s.
Yeah, but Speed Racer wasn't really. That was something. That wasn't anime like that. That was a completely different style of anime. So.
I mean, I remember racing home in junior high to watch Star Blazers because it had a serialized story. I bring that up because of two things. One, the fact that the ship in Star Blazers was a battleship. It was an actual battleship that was transformed into a spaceship, like in this film. Instead of having sails and all that, it didn't have that because it's a battleship. That was the Yamato, which when they renamed it in America, they named it the Argo. The other thing that I was like, oh, that's awfully familiar, was the whole idea of the bad guys taking the planet and using the planet as an actual spaceship. That was pretty much the whole thing of the second series of Star Blazers, which had the heroes going up against this invading force called the Comet Empire. They had their whole it was almost, the way it looked on screen was almost like Gondor. The way that Gondor was set up and kind of like that tower, kind of almost wedding cake tier kind of a thing.
Minas Tirith.
Yeah, Minas Tirith, yeah. But it was on this enormous comet, and that's what I was thinking of with this. I was like, oh, that's familiar. Oh, man, this movie hurts.
This is such a painful movie.
It is so painful, and it's so, like, wow, why are these people that we actually know in this movie?
Yeah. It was the most interminable film we've sat through in a long time. I mean, the last one this bad was probably The Apple, that we were dying to get over.
Yeah, I would say you're right.
Halfway through the film, I actually looked at her and said, let's just turn it off. We can fake it with Wikipedia. No. We sat through the whole thing, including the end credits.
And it's like,
Which is how we found out that Norman Rose was doing the voiceover at the beginning and throughout the movie. This film is not available in any rental online that I can find. It might be on some of the public domain stuff that you can find on like Roku or other websites, but you can get the version we watched on YouTube. Look for Message from Space 1978 full movie, and it is a dubbed version. The sound is bad, and not really bad in places. It's just the way it was shot.
It's muffled.
It's muffled, but it is a good print to look at. It wasn't painful, discolored or anything.
No.
And it's.
But it just sucks.
It hurts. Be very, very aware.
It sucks.
That it hurts. Next week, John Boy turns into Luke Skywalker.
Don't insult Mark Hamill like that.
In the American kind of version of Message from Space, it is called Battle Beyond the Stars, and that is next week on Masochistic March.
The best movies! Subject Cinema!
PNR Network shows depend on our listeners. It's you that makes us who we are. Help us bring you all the best we can. Become a Patreon patron. Donations start at just $2 a month, and the more patrons we can get, the more we'll be able to offer. You can get great perks, plus exclusive blogs and podcasts available only for being a patron as well. It's absolutely fantastic. So please, become a Patreon patron today. We need you. Patreon.com/PNRNetworks.
Your everyman's film school. This is Subject Cinema.
Time for another one of Kim's classics. She always surprises me when I'm working on Saturday on the website and stuff, and she sits there and finds out some really crazy stuff to watch. And this morning, she dug out on somewhere on cable the original version of Johnny Weissmuller as Tarzan.
Yep.
So, tell us about it.
1932's Tarzan the Ape Man was Johnny Weissmuller's first donning of the loincloth as the titular Earl of Greystoke, although that part's not brought up.
Then don't bring it up, because it isn't part of those movies.
Fine. It's basically the whole Tarzan story. Jane shows up from England to Africa looking for her father, who, along with another guy, are looking for the fabled elephant graveyard, because they want to, trade in ivory. Boo hiss. But Jane winds up catching the attention of Tarzan, who literally swoops in and carries her off, It's dated.
This is the film where we get the whole me Tarzan, you Jane,
Actually,
right?
That's not accurate.
Okay.
People have been saying that wrong for years. The whole thing with the film is, this is where that starts.
But it's just Tarzan and Jane.
Yeah, it's just Tarzan, Jane, Tarzan, Jane. He keeps hitting her. He's like hitting himself in the chest, kind of punching her a little bit. It's like, boof, Jane. And it goes back and forth for a little bit. And it's kind of cute. Although I'd be like, stop poking me in the chest, you big twit. It is what it is. It's very dated. I mean, it's a very dated film, and she's definitely, she does come across a couple of times like she can take care of herself until she's faced with, a rampaging wildebeest, and then she's all like, yee, which I kind of can understand that. I'll give the cast real quick. The cast includes Neil Hamilton, yes, Commissioner Gordon, as Harry Holt, Maureen O'Sullivan as Jane Parker, C. Aubrey Smith as James Parker, Doris Lloyd as Mrs. Cutton, Forrester Harvey as Beamish, Ivory Williams as Rihanna, Johnny Weissmuller as Tarzan, Ray Corrigan as the gentleman in the ape costume. I would also like to bring up, and this is just completely a me thing.
Yeah, I was so glad I wasn't in the room for most of this because I get tired of listening to this.
I'm sorry.
Anyway.
I'm sorry. I'm an animal nerd. What do you want?
You're an animal nerd. You're an animal fake nerd, actually.
I get pissy about this. I do. I admit it. I do. There's several scenes where we are supposed to believe that these are apes. Fine. They're ape costumes. I've seen worse. But they're holding what are allegedly supposed to be, they're gorillas, and they're supposed to be holding baby gorillas. I am like, that's not a baby gorilla. That is a chimpanzee. And you can tell the difference. Anybody who's seen a baby gorilla and who has seen a chimpanzee knows the difference. I'm like, that's insulting. You think your audience is stupid.
It was 1932. Movies were just getting started. People were not picky about stuff like that then. You notice they are not doing that with the current Tarzan movies that have been out with Kellen Lutz and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and even Christopher Lambert.
Dwayne didn't do a...
didn't he do one?
No, he's a Hercules movie.
Oh, that's right.
No, you're thinking of Alexander Skarsgård.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay. Yeah, Dwayne's was Hercules. Anyway, sorry about that. Okay. We didn't see any of those, so it's like, okay.
But speaking of guys that look good... I have to say, I was like, okay, I can kind of understand what brought people to this movie, because, hello, Johnny Weissmuller. He was pretty hot.
Hello, male nurse.
Yeah, he had a nice bod. I would have been like, I wouldn't kick him out of the hammock for eating bananas. But my whole thing, I did have one tiny little quibble, and this is, I know you're going to be like, but I'm sorry. If this guy has been living in the jungle all of his life, why is his hair only, like, about here?
Oh, for Pete's sake.
Shouldn't his hair be down, like, here somewhere? I mean...
It'd probably be down further than that.
Yeah, I just think that's weird. I mean, I know we're not going for realism here, but...
1932, suspension of disbelief.
Fine.
Honestly.
But it was different, and it's
well, like, even a modern-day example. How long was Elliot... without parents in Pete's Dragon? 5, 6, 7 years?
Something like that,
yeah. Well, Pete's hair should have been down to his butt, too, and it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was just barely shoulder length. So there you go.
That's true.
Love that movie. If you haven't seen it, see it.
Tarzan the Ape Man is definitely... The 1932 version is light years better than the one that came out in the 80s. I mean... While looking at Miles O'Keefe is not a torture, the rest of the movie sure was.
That's that one, but you loved... You're a fan of Greystoke, too.
Greystoke is an amazing film.
And that was from the 80s, too.
Yeah. That's an amazing film. Really, really
You were
well
also
done.
a fan of Wolf Larsen's Tarzan.
Very much.
Even though he was kind of more closer to the Miles O'Keefe than the Christopher
Didn't
Lambert.
care. No, that's not true. His Tarzan... Looks-wise, yeah. Smarts-wise, he was streaks ahead.
Yeah, he was kind of an airhead, from what I remember.
That's me.
Not in a bad way. He just was an airhead. Very literal.
He was, because he didn't grow up with all of the hypocrisy and bullshit that we call civilization.
All right.
So, if you get a chance, TCM is running Tarzan the Ape Man. If you get a chance, check it out. It's fun.
It's probably available on their on-demand service as well.
And if nothing else, you can practice the yell and wake up your spouse at 7 in the morning when the alarm doesn't work.
Not a good idea. We do not advise that you actually do that. Thank you for this public service announcement.
T.C. Kirkham and Kim Brown. Subject Cinema.
Want to know what's happening for the weekend? Then check out Subject Cinema's 3-Minute Weekend, spotlighting all the new films hitting your local theaters. Join host T.C. Kirkham as he gives you the 411 on all the new blockbuster releases, as well as the indies that might be coming to your town, and choices for video on demand as well. 3-Minute Weekend, every Friday morning from Subject Cinema and eCinemaOne.com, a member of the Lamb Podcasting Network, a PNRNetworks podcast.
We've got the films of the present and future. This is Subject Cinema.
Here we are, March 10th, 2018, day and date. Mm-hmm. And by all rights, we should have been at episode 600 about a year ago. Over the years, we have been missing shows here and there. This spring has been just terrible. This winter has been terrible because we've both been so sick and we've got stuff going on. Our episode 600 was supposed to be way back in January. Yep. And it was like, okay, we finally made it. Now we're here. Now what? Mm-hmm. Does it seem like we've done this many shows over the years? I mean, that's just regular Subject Cinema.
Shows, yeah.
Does not include the specials we've done. It does not include the Oscar specials that we've done. I mean, all told, we've probably put together for subject cinema or special subject cinemas, 650, 660 shows over the years.
Yeah.
Which is just crazy.
It is crazy.
When I looked at you and said, let's do a podcast, you were like, what's a podcast?
Yeah, that was my first response was, what's a podcast?
And that was 13 years ago, almost.
Yeah.
So it's been like, wow, this is crazy. We've been doing this since June 14th, I think it was, of 2006. Mm-hmm. And it's been a crazy, all kinds of craziness over the years.
Mm-hmm.
What do you like the best about doing the show?
I like being able to talk about movies with you.
Well, we can do that without the show.
I know, but I like being able to have an excuse to check out some films that we never would have checked out before.
Mm-hmm. As I've said many times, I was a meat and potatoes movie guy with a few indies here and there that I didn't really know about. Now I'm more indie than meat and potatoes. I look out the smaller films, and it's really.
I really never watched as many documentaries until we started this show.
You still don't watch nearly as many documentaries.
Well,
as
that's
because I love docs.
That is accurate, but I've watched some documentaries that I don't think I would have watched before, simply because I was like, oh, that wouldn't interest me. But then I've watched them, and I've been like, wow, that was really interesting. Like, I would, just for an example, I don't think I would have been all that, I would have been like, about something like The City Dark. Mm. But I found that really fascinating.
Which we saw at IFFB back in 2008, something like that. 2009.
I never would have gone to a film festival if we hadn't done this show.
I was amazed you hadn't been to a film festival. And our very first film festival was the Massachusetts Film and Video Festival, which we went to in 2007. It's now called the Mass Indie Film Festival. It's the same people.
Yeah.
We saw Still Green there, which was one of our favorites, and we saw Once Upon a Film.
Yeah, Once Upon a Film, which we both
Which has changed considerably
love.
From the one we saw at the festival to the theatrical release one that's available on Amazon. They're both excellent, though.
Yeah. Yeah, they are great movies, though. It's a great film. If you ever get a chance, you need to check it out.
Now we're film festival centric. We go to as many of them as we can to see as many cool films as we can.
It's really fun watching. It's really fun watching your reactions to films.
My reaction.
Yeah, it really is for me. And I'm sure maybe you don't feel the same way about me. I'll give you guys an example.
I don't need to look at you to know how you'll react.
What do you mean?
Animal comes on screen, and said, animal gets hurt, hunky guy, it's all gets there.
Could you make me sound a little less like a sea lion in Heat, please? If that's not too much to ask.
Dark Knight Rises.
One moan. One little moan, and people never let you forget it.
Nope.
Anyway, well, no, let me tell you guys a story just to, give you an example. No, this isn't a bad thing. It's definitely not a bad story. One of the films that we saw was Harold and Maude. Now, you said you had seen Harold and Maude, part of it.
I watched the first 10, 15 minutes when I was about 17, and I was like, what is this crap? Okay.
Right. I'd seen it when I was a teenager in my 20s or so, and I thought it was a really fascinating film. It's a study on death and life and what it means to live as opposed to existing. They played it at the Brattle one night in Cambridge, and we decided, well, let's go see it. So
I thought, I'm older, I've got a different mindset, because this has been after we've been doing the show about 2 or 3 years. Mm-hmm. Let's go see it. Yep. I swear, I freaking died. I was laughing so hard at this film.
So we go to the movie, we both enjoy it, and now the Brattle is right down the street from a place in Cambridge called The Garage. It's all these little eclectic shops and everything like that. And because Cambridge is a college town, they keep kind of late hours.
Yeah. It wasn't that late anyway. It was like 9 o'clock.
No, we walk out of the theater. He we're holding hands. He goes, come on. And I'm like, where are we going? Oh, we're going to Newbury. I have to buy this movie right now. And just the way he was so excited that this film had come into his life at that point, and he wanted a copy of it, I was like, wow, that's so cool.
Yeah,
That's
I never
such a
used
cool
to care
thing.
one way or another. I'd record movies occasionally off HBO on my VCR.
What's a VCR, Daddy?
We don't even have one anymore.
Yeah.
But now, I used to try and buy practically everything we saw, just have it for our collection. But when it comes to finances, because it's so tight now in times, I will buy only the films that other than what, I mean, we subscribe to film, I can't think of the name. Film Movement. Thank you. Film Movement. We get something from them every month. I regularly subscribe to Oscilloscope Circle of Trust, so we get all their latest releases. But other than that, we don't really do much anymore. And so I really adore a film when the first thing I do is order it. Yeah. Over this last couple years, I haven't really ordered that much. I ordered everything that you've seen me give awards to in the last couple years. Street Cat Named Bob, Sing Street, Little Men, Batman vs. Superman, and a couple, maybe 2 or 3 other ones. And like 5 years ago, when our rent was half of what it was now, I would have been buying like 200 DVDs a year.
Yeah.
And now I'm buying like 8 or 9. So it's like, okay, it's kind of crazy. And I'm only buying the ones that I'm going to watch over and over again. Like right now, I still want to buy Valerian. I haven't gotten around to it yet because I love that film. And, Kim's not that heavy on it, so I won't get to watch that much anyway because she won't want to sit through it. So, but I enjoyed it. And I don't begrudge her doing that either. She's bought a few films that she wants. And
yeah.
It's fun.
I think we've definitely grown in regards to our looking at the behind-the-scenes stuff of films and what it takes to make a film. We both have directors that we love. We both have directors that we avoid. We both have...
They're usually the same when it comes to avoiding them. Miranda July is at the top of the list.
Yep.
Yeah, I think they are. And the top of the list for finding... Like, we know we'll probably get quality work from Rian Johnson, David Michaud,
Christopher Nolan,
although I'm not that fond of some of his stuff. Like you are. And
Takeshi Kitano.
Kitano's always good, yeah. So, and then on the other side, Miranda July. We had once. We'll take a chance on Guy Madden because we love some of his earlier stuff, but and that was crazy. I would have never, ever seen a Guy Madden movie before we started doing this show. And I love the guy's stuff. He's so creative.
Yeah.
Except Keyhole. Keyhole was awful.
We've gone into films that I think it's fair to say this is more of a couple thing than a podcast thing. But we've definitely gone to films that, I know you've gone to films that you didn't really want to go see because I wanted to see them. And I've gone to films that I really wasn't all that crazy about, but you wanted to see.
See the aforementioned Valerian.
And
Cloverfield.
And occasionally we've both come out and been like, wow, that was really amazing. I'm sorry I ever doubted your opinion.
We've come
out going, you owe me.
We haven't done that much lately.
Not lately, no.
We've had this thing where I know Kim, where she sees a trailer and she's just like, I'm just not feeling it. I know she's going to end up loving the movie. Because every time she says that about a movie, it's boom.
Not necessarily.
It took you a while to get into Hunger Games.
Yeah, it did.
But you were like, about Grand Budapest Hotel, and yet we sat there and laughed our asses off.
Yeah, but that's because I'd already tried a couple of Wes Anderson movies and went, what the hell is so great about this guy?
Yeah.
I'm still not completely
Budapest
sold.
Hotel is awesome. If you haven't seen it, please check it out.
Yeah.
It's accessible to everybody.
Yeah, but a stop clock is right twice a day anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I think the fact that we've been able to turn other people on to movies they wouldn't have seen before, that makes me feel really good when somebody says, oh, hey, I saw that because you said, it was good. I really loved it. Thanks so much. That makes me feel really good.
Like the cab driver who said he loved Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri after we recommended it, although he said he didn't like the ending. Some people don't.
No.
No. Yeah, we've been lucky enough that, we've gotten a reputation around work and people know, hey, did you see this yet? How is it? They'll come up and ask us and I'll tell them. And Anthony our buddy over at Comic Grotto, we gave him a huge list because he asked of stuff that he should check out, and he's diligently gone through a lot of it and loved some of it and didn't like some of it, and he said, "Hey, we don't mind that you don't like it."
Oh no, we definitely we definitely want to hear from people that, you know, if you didn't like something, you know, we're definitely not the type that would be insulted if someone said, "Hey, I didn't like this."
Yeah.
You know,
we usually ask them, "Well, what was wrong with it?" So we know what they think about that, so we have an idea.
Yeah, because, you know, everybody's got their own opinion, and we just have made so many, you know, discoveries, and I think that's such an important part of life, to find things that are new.
Right.
Even if it's something, it's weird, because even if it's a film that's 40, 50 years old, to you it's new. If you've never seen it before.
I had never seen Casablanca before we started doing this show. My mother loves that film, and she had told me what a great movie it was, and she always tried to watch it when it was on TV when I was growing up, but I never had any interest in it. We went to see it at the Brattle Theater one year because they run it every Valentine's Day, and we sat there, and Kim cried, and I got to squeeze her, and it's an awesome film, and it's become one of our favorite films. I also have become an Orson Welles fan. I have always liked Orson as a talk show guest, but I really wasn't that familiar until I watched Citizen Kane, because I had a friend at work say, "You're doing a movie podcast and you've never seen Citizen Kane? How dare you?" Hi, Pam. But she didn't mean it that way. She was being she didn't say how dare you. She was but questioning me, and just like I questioned the fact that at the time she didn't like Hero, which kind of blew my mind.
Yeah.
But we saw it and loved it. I'm glad we saw it after Magnificent Ambersons, because I didn't think much of that one. But Citizen Kane I loved, and I've seen several times since then, and it's just a really great movie, and it made me an enormous fan of Orson Welles. So much so that I've gotten books about him, I've got an entire collection of his radio stuff. He's just an amazing guy. And I really loved some of the ideas, and I can't wait till later this year when Netflix releases the final film, The Other Side of the Wind, which is being put together by his good friend Peter Bogdanovich and a few other people. And I'm very much looking forward to seeing what they finally make of this movie, which was shot over a course of 8 years off and on, as Orson was able to get money for it. So
we've opened each other up to different kinds of films, I think, and that's partially because of the podcast.
Yeah.
I've been a horror movie fan for most of my life. Classic horror. I like some of the modern stuff too, but I prefer classics. And you've opened me up to certain things that I never would have.
Well, I've never been a particularly horror fan, but I like the Universal monsters. And I've always kind of liked B movies.
You're always kind of
The Wolfman is a good movie. It's not that the movie isn't good. The first one is fine. It's just, after 5 movies with Larry Talbot, Edward Cullen all over the place, or the other way around, it gets on, it grates. The first movie is okay. And I love, what's her name? The gypsy lady.
The lady who played Mileva, yeah.
Yeah. She's great. So, I mean...
But, I mean, you being a dude, because for some reason you're all hardwired like this. Talking like you...
I think I've just been insulted.
No, it's not an insulting thing. It's just I don't know any women that are into, World War II history stuff. And because of your interest in that, I've watched a couple of things that, I mean, you showed me, you went to the theater to see a film unfinished.
Yeah.
And then you came home and you were like, you have to watch this. And I was watching it, and I was glad that I saw it at
I was
home.
glad she wasn't with me at the theater either. I went to the Kendall Square to see that in 2010 when it came out, and it is a documentary that will change your life. If you're not familiar with what happened in the Warsaw Ghetto, it will just blow your mind as to how real, brutal, and cruel the Nazis can really be.
For anybody who looks at the stuff that's been going on in the world recently with people who all of a sudden think it's cool to walk around with that kind of crap on.
Yeah.
And, watch this film and then think, if you still think that that's cool, But I remember thinking when we were watching it, I was like, I'm glad we didn't see this in the theater, because I would have thrown up.
You know what else I got you to watch, which I couldn't believe that I really was glad that you saw? Although you didn't see in it what I saw in it, you still enjoyed it. Under the Electric Sky.
No, I understand. Okay.
Under the Electric Sky is the documentary about the Electric Daisy Carnival that happens every year in Las Vegas in the summertime, and it was a revelation to me when I saw it, because I like dance music, but I did not like all of that much. Now I can't get enough of it. I just love that music after seeing it. It's so happy
and I do
understand.
I understand why you wanted to show me that movie, and I have to be honest. I was like, wow, those people all look like they're having fun and they're enjoying the music. And
why is that person dressed like an aspirin bottle?
Yeah, it's like, okay, and that guy's dressed, and that guy's dressed like a ketchup and bottle of ketchup, and that lady's got a Wonder Woman outfit on or whatever, and that but everybody's having a good time. You still wouldn't get me to go to it simply because
I wouldn't go to it either, because it happens the last weekend in June in the desert in Las Vegas.
That's reason number one. Reason number two is people would look at the two of us and go, ew, who brought their
No, I don't agree. There were people there that were in their 60s, and they weren't, it's an all-inclusive thing. I'd still like to go just once just to say I was. I think that would be cool. A bucket list thing. Like, I'd like to get to Aspen eventually and a few other places in my life. Key West. All these cool places. I'm trying to think about...
We've gotten to see people at the start of their career, and that's a really neat thing.
We start like the fourth show we did was our very first annual Rising Stars list on July 4th. Now, this starting last year, it's moved to Labor Day to make it easier on us, but it's... we have been there from the beginning with some of the fastest rising stars in Hollywood. Ezra Miller. We were on Ezra Miller way before everybody else.
Yep.
We spotted him in City Island, and then he landed We Need to Talk About Kevin, and then a few other smaller movies, and then he did Perks of Being a Wallflower, earned a ton of awards from the film critics, and his star exploded. Now he's the Flash.
Yep.
In the films. We were there at the beginning for Robert Pattinson, who we spotted in Harry Potter before it was even announced that he was going to do Twilight.
Yep.
And Kristen Stewart the same way. And boom.
Although, to be perfectly honest, I had no idea Twilight was going to be...
No, but we knew Robert Pattinson was going to be...
We knew he was going to be something special.
So many people over the years, including Michael Angarano, Josh Hutcherson, Mia Wasikowska. Great people.
Ryan
Lucas
Johnson
Christian.
as a director.
Some of the people that are just now starting to take off that we spotted years ago. Ty Sheridan, who is starring in bigger and bigger parts now that he's jumped from indies mostly to studio films with Scout's Guide to the Apocalypse, the X-Men movies, and now with Ready Player One, which is poised to explode. He also has another smaller film at South by Southwest this month. We'll talk about it next week. That he's co-starring in with Caleb Landry Jones, another rising star we love. And Thomas Mann. We have been watching Thomas Mann for 6 years now. He first got our attention, and it's kind of a funny story. He still isn't where he should be, but he's getting there, thanks to me and Earl and the Dying Girl starting to really explode him. And he's just brilliant. The saddest moment of that, though, was losing Anton Yelchin. Anton was an amazing actor who we adored, and his sudden and shocking death last year at the age of 27 just ripped us apart. I mean, he still has 2 more films. The Thoroughbreds came out this weekend, and the final film will be out in 2 weeks. I can't remember the name of it, but it'll be on 3 Minute Weekend.
Yeah, you guys have been with us. Like we said, we started this in
2006.
Yeah.
June of 2006.
You guys have been there with us during the good times, and also during the bad times that were on personal levels. Me dealing with illnesses, TC dealing with illnesses.
Your father's passing.
My father's passing. You guys have been there with us for things that were on a national or statewide scale. We were recording.
We were recording during the Boston Marathon explosion, which we came back from, and we're like, "What the hell is going on?" We've seen so many things happen, and we've talked about them on this show, and many of you have written to us about them. Another thing this show has done in a great way is connect us. Now, we don't hear from a lot of people anymore, and I don't quite understand why. The address is still the same. Subject Cinema at PNRNetworks.com. It was popcornandroses.com, but, PNR Networks, same thing. we used to hear from all the regulars, and we still have them out there. Where I still see them downloading. We're still getting downloads.
And we appreciate
it would be nice.
That.
Yes, we do. It would be nice if you would write to us every now and then. Let us know what you think of how we're doing and stuff like that. But if it wasn't for the show, we wouldn't have made friends with our pals from Cavebabble, Eric and Valerie Lyon, who have become a great source of fun and inspiration for this show. And their show is dynamite as well. We knew Anthony Lamberti from work, and his co-star Pee-wee as well over at Comic Grotto, and before that they had Mashed Up Madness. They have been a big part of our success as well.
Yep.
We've had people in and out like Monica and Johnny, who did video review a few years ago. And we have you guys, and we thank you for listening. We hope you'll write to us at some time and let us know how we're doing. subjectcinema@PNRNetworks.com. Mostly, as much as we love you and we know that you love us, we could really use some help with the Patreon campaign. Our Patreon is there because we'd like to do all these upgrades. We'd like to get better equipment. We'd like to have better shows and really, really build up toward what we can. It's just $2 a month to start, and we hope that you guys would take the time. If you've been listening, and some people I know for a fact have been listening to this show since day one, please join our Patreon patrons and help us to get that goal so we can bring you better film festival coverage, better movie coverage, better reviews, better website design, better recording equipment, which we desperately need, and everything else. You can join that and find out all about it at patreon.com/PNRNetworks, and it supports Subject Cinema, all of our sites, all of our podcasts, including Eric and Valerie's Cavebabble and Aunt B and Pee-wee's Comic Grotto. And we thank you for 600 shows plus of great times, and we hope you'll be around for 600 more.
T.C. Kirkham and Kim Brown. Real movies for real people. Subject Cinema.
All right, Kristen, I am so excited that you've decided to do a podcast with me, but what are we going to do a podcast about? There's so many other movie podcasts. We got to do something original.
Well, I'm a big fan of Disney movies. What about something like that?
That's just kid stuff. What do we want to do that for?
Did you know that The Avengers is a Disney movie? Or that Pulp Fiction is a Disney movie?
Pulp Fiction is not a Disney movie.
It's technically owned by Miramax, which is part of Disney.
We are still going to talk about the Disney animated movies, though, right?
I thought you said that was kid stuff.
Well, I've got 2 kids. I got to be a good dad and stuff.
So be sure to subscribe to the Walt Sent Me podcast, where we discuss the various subsidiaries of the Walt Disney Studios, including the animated movies.
It's available on iTunes, Podomatic, and wherever you find great podcasts. And I swear, it's not kid stuff.
All movies, all the time. Subject Cinema with TC and Kim.
We haven't forgot about the festivals. We're going to keep that up, and we're going to keep going with them later. Next week we'll be having South by Southwest, and we'll try to get some of the other ones in. We were going to try and get South by Southwest in this week, but we've got time considerations as always in trying to get this up on time on Saturday because it's just been crazy, as we said earlier. But we hope you'll keep listening as we go into what is going to be the craziest, busiest season we've ever faced with Subject Cinemas and eCinemaBoston's festival season.
Yep.
9 festivals, 2 film series, all in 8 weeks. 5 of the festivals, or part of the festivals, are airing the same weekend. And it's going to be crazy, but we've got connections going and talking to several of the festivals about connecting us with stuff when we can't get there. And it's going to be fun, and that'll all start in April on eCinemaBoston, which should relaunch in the next couple of days. I'm having some trouble with the stupid web design because every time I find a theme I like, it won't work with something I've got on the site. So I've got to adjust things, and I know what I want, and I hope it'll be debuting this week because I need to get it up because we've got to start our Boston Springs the Festival coverage.
Yep.
Also, we got lots of great other shows around. We hope you'll listen. Front Row 5 and 10 is our list show from Subject Cinema. It's available Thursdays. Tuesday and Friday, we've got Tuesday Digidex covering home video and 3-Minute Weekend covering theatrical releases every week. Those run about 10 minutes each. Kim has 2 shows, Platinum Rose's Garden every Sunday, covering Supernatural and the Winchesters, and your newest show, Ring Around the Rosie, which is on Wednesdays, about Kim's 30-plus years as a wrestling fan and current updates on SmackDown and Raw, and that's been great. Don't forget to check out my show, Catastrophe Vortex, when it gets back up. I swear it will be up this coming Monday, day and date as you're listening. I've not had time to do it. Every week I'm like, I got everything ready. Why can't I find the time? It will get back this week, and I promise there'll be at least one more show this month, and we'll get into it. And it's at CatastropheVortex.com, PlatinumRosesGarden.com, and RingAroundTheRosie.net for Kim shows. Cavebabble.
Just real quick, also my shows, not safe for work.
No, not safe for work.
No.
Cavebabble with Eric and Valerie Lyon at Cavebabble.com, and Comic Grotto with Aunt B and Pee Wee at ComicGrotto.com. And don't forget to check out our first original PNRNetworks dramatic presentation, Manhattan Hammerdown As It Happened. This came out in January. It is a 10th anniversary tribute to the film Cloverfield. It is the news side of what was happening. How news and EAS alerts covered what happened in the movie.
Yep.
And we hope that you will come listen to it. It's actually 10 minutes longer than the film. And it's over at ManhattanHammerdown.com.
But there's no motion sickness.
There's no motion sickness, and it involves the entire PNR Networks family, not just us, but Eric and Valerie and Courtney Lyon, and Aunt B and Pee Wee from Comic Grotto and a couple other people, and it's just... It was a labor of love and a hard work, and it took 4 months to do, and we hope that you will come check it out and pass around the word about that and every PNR Network show and site you go to. Subscribe, like, send, and share, because you can definitely do it. And as I said earlier, nothing could be more important than becoming a Patreon supporter. We can use anything we can get right now, $2 to $100 a month, whatever you want to do in between or whatever. Great perks all the way through. And I'm going to be revising that, I think, to try and be more enticing to get some more people to do it. And I hope they will, because we desperately need a new PC. We desperately need a new mixer. We desperately need a new cables for the microphones. And we'd like to do some more trips to do better film festival coverage and stuff. We can't do it without you. And you've got to step up and help out if you can. PNRnetworks.com / Patreon.com / PNR Networks. Check it out. Anything else?
No, I think that ought to do it.
Alrighty, let's say goodbye to 600 in the rearview mirror and look forward to 600 more. By the way, just as an aside, when we get to the show that comes after 665, you're not going to get it. It's only going to be 665A and then 667, because we're not putting that in our show.
We're not taking any chances.
I mean, our luck's bad enough already, don't you think?
Well, knowing us, it would fall on Friday the 13th or something.
And on that note... For Subject Cinema, I'm T.C. Kirkham.
I'm Kim Brown.
May your popcorn always be buttered.
And may your roses always be in bloom.
TTFN.
Bye now.
You have been listening to Subject Cinema with hosts T.C. Kirkham and Kim Brown. Subject Cinema is produced by PNR Networks, Boston, Massachusetts, which is solely responsible for its content. Subject Cinema theme performed by Eric Lyon. Subject Cinema is recorded and produced using Sony Vegas products. Subject Cinema is copyright 2017 by PNR Networks under a Creative Commons license. Check out a new episode of Subject Cinema every weekend. Until next time, this is Bob Taylor for Subject Cinema, and we'll see you at the movies.
That's all.
Podcasting's choice. From coast to coast, continent to continent, right here 24/7.